And a big good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup. It's round number 6 here for the championship. It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock. You know what that means. We've got a fantastic group of races for you. And it is a new beginning maybe for us here on Gantry TV. We had Kevin copyrighted. We now have a bit of a new partnership here. It is myself, Evan Dalton, with the fabulous Ronan Hedeman in the background as always. But it is the man who you had the privilege of listening to last week alongside me. It is Mr. Kieran McGinley. Kieran, last week you had a bit of a tough job coming in doing the solo commentary. Are you still alive? One, and two, how are you keeping?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me back. It must have been okay enough for me to come back after last week. Yeah, hopefully no one's ears bled, so that's good news. But yeah, it was great fun, wasn't it? Out at Sebring, respect the bumps, and we saw 2 or 3 drivers hit the final wall at the final turn. And caused all sorts of mayhem in our third and final race. So it was great fun to watch, and I can't wait to do it all again tonight.
Yes, Sebring was a really interesting one, even from my perspective, just rewatching it and looking at the results. We had a really mixed heat three, and I suppose it just bodes well to the chaos that tonight another American racetrack could unfold. This is, of course, the Virginia International Raceway, located in Alton, Virginia. It's near the river. It's near the Dan River. Not to be confused with the Danube in Germany. That's a whole different thing. I'm sure if Kevin was still here, he'd probably spout out some German for you all at home. But I don't speak the language, so we're safe that. It is a fabulous racing facility here in America, mostly known for sort of privateer racing and sort of small racing. But it's twisty, it's turny, it's long, Kieran, and I think it could provide some very intriguing action for us.
I do like that. It's twisty and it's turny. Yeah, that's a good way to sum up this one. When they start adding A's and B's after number at this track, you know you're going to be in for a bit of fun here. I mean, you're talking about the left hook in towards the snake as you head your way down towards South Bend, and you've got the roller coaster of turns 13 through to 15, and a massive long back straight where these V8 Aston Martin Vantage GT4s can really open up the taps. It's a circuit that has just a little bit of everything, including the horseshoe and oak tree being slow speed corners. This is a track really, it's got a lot of everything. It's really going to be demanding of you for the entire lap. And we're looking at, just in the practice times, about 1 minute 52s, I think I saw, were some of our quickest times. So perhaps when we get into qualifying, we might see potentially 51s if the drivers really can pound the car as fast as they can.
Just noticed on the track map as well, it kind of looks like a football boot when it's upside down. So there's a quick, I suppose, me just pointing that one out and getting it out of the way. But practice times looking very well. It's Jordan Kelly who's at the top of the practice times, and he is well used to being at the top here in the GT4 Championship. If we do take a quick look at our championship standings, it is Jordan Kelly who is cemented at the top of them, really. 306 points to 229 behind from the young Dylan McClemens. Dylan, who is celebrating his 14th birthday today. That makes me feel really old, but a big happy birthday to Dylan, who is performing phenomenally in this GT4 Championship, taking his first heat win in Monza, of course. Then it is Alexander Milchan, who is in third and 168 points. Fun fact for Alex, he's third in the standings, but he has not finished above sixth in any of the races. You would heard me and Kevin blabbering on the opening rounds about how it's important to be consistent. He is demonstrating that absolutely perfectly. Only a couple of points behind then is Ronan Doherty in fourth, and then it is Ryan Ware in fifth, and of Dave Maguire in sixth, and Conor Melia in seventh, Robert Moore in eighth with Rory O'Shea in ninth, and then Brian McManus in 10th position. But Kieran, I tell you what, we had a very close season last season. It's not looking too close at the top there. That's a very healthy lead for Jordan.
The very healthy lead, and of course, with the cancellation of the race at Spa, there's no more drop rounds this season, so there's no need to go through all the points and take away the worst result. The scores you see are the scores they are, and that is that. So everybody knows what they need to do towards the end of the season, as we see an armada of Aston Martins head their way out onto the Virginia International Raceway as we head off to begin qualifying. And of course, here you're looking at an outlap here of about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes if you're not careful. So you're really only looking at about 4 or 5 laps at the very maximum to get some lap times in there. So getting out on track, getting those lap times in is so important because you don't have many opportunities to do so. Ronan Doherty is going to be one that's going to try and bounce back here tonight. Last week, you'll remember in Heat 2, we got a spinner there. That's not a great start to qualifying there. You'll remember Ronan Doherty last week unfortunately fell afoul of the last corner. Respecting the bumps wasn't on the agenda there for poor Ronan. As we see cars slipping and sliding around here, it's already proving this track is not very grippy at this moment. It's a very green track. So get those temperatures into the tyres. I'll try for a third time, Evan. Here we go. Let's see if anybody else spins. But Ronan Doherty looking to bounce back after falling afoul at the final corner in Heat 2, which put him right at the back of the grid for Heat 3. He was making good progress up into the top 10, but unfortunately another incident fell afoul of him, so he wasn't able to score many points last week out. He's looking to bounce back. And yes, I made it. I made it, Evan.
I did honestly think those two who were on our screen were going to crash for a point there while you were trying to get through for a third time.
It would have summed it all up, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it showcases the chaos we sometimes get in these races if we have 2 or 3 drivers spinning in their outlap of qualifying. But yeah, as Kieran said, it's a long lap here. The formation lap should be very fun, but it is a long outlap, and these drivers do have plenty of time to heat their tyres and get on the quickest, I suppose, conditions as they can possible. A man I'd like to point out from last week, Mr. Jamal Gantor. We may have known him from his, I suppose, his newly founded... Oh, there's a car gone round in the background. That's a third one. Third time is the charm, and I'm not too sure who that is, but it's someone gone round. But Jamal Gantor, who you can see on your screen there now, did pick up our driver of the day, or Kieran's driver of the day, I should say, from last week, and did pick up his first podium in third. He was absolutely delighted with that, and we look forward to seeing Jamal doing well here this evening. He's one of the first few guys to cross the start-finish line, and we should hopefully be seeing him going on a lap time soon. But currently in qualifying, it is 3 minutes gone down. Rory O'Shea at the top of the order with a 1:56.6, so we're still a little bit off those practice times. I imagine we're going to see some big improvements in the next couple of moments.
Yeah, of course, the timing starts as soon as you head out of the pit lane, really. So you've got drivers out there trying to find some space out on tracks. It's not going to be a representative first lap time on the board, so it's just a case here of getting through. Rory O'Shea, we're watching there, making his way through, and will then climb up the hill. Various iterations of this circuit, all in the infield, can really spice it up. It gets very narrow in the infield. Luckily here, doesn't get as narrow using the outside of the circuit here. But I mean, it's got a history back into the 1950s, I believe, 1957. This track first opened. And it's not much has changed, especially to the outside of the circuit. You know, you'll have a few tyre walls instead of hay bales here and there, but generally the track layout hasn't really changed that much over the years. So it's got that real heritage, you could say, about Virginia International Raceway. And yeah, it's not one I visit regularly, but I feel like I'm robbed because of that.
Yes, it's a really, really intriguing sort of racing facility, and I think that leads us on perfectly to maybe have a closer look at it. Jordan Kelly, top of the standings, once again, as always, providing us the goods and providing us with one of his own hot laps, which we will be able to take you through and have a deeper dive in towards this Virginia International Raceway circuit. So down in towards the first couple of corners, turn number 1 being the horseshoe here. It's a long right-hander, and then you just put on the power for a quick flick to the right for turn number 2. Down towards turn number 3, this is known as the NASCAR bend. It is a sort of trail-breaking corner in towards the left hook of turn number 4, and this is where it gets very tight down towards 5A and 5, which is a pet peeve of mine when they put letters on corners, but that is how it is. And towards the snake, then this is a really, really crucial, I suppose, exit in towards the twisty, turny bends down towards 7, 8, 9 and 10. Very like the track we're heading to next week, Road Atlanta. But as you get down towards turn number 10, which is the south bend, you've got a very heavy braking zone in front of you. That's down towards the oak tree and past the manors on the left-hand side. Going to be probably one of our biggest overtaking opportunities here this evening. You can just see Jordan picking up those curves perfectly, really showing why he is the championship leader and why he's probably one of the best in these Aston Martin cars. This is the tight turn of turn number 12, and you can see just bobbling over the curve, just having a little bit of a wobble and getting a good straight. Down towards the chicane at Madison Avenue, this is a very quick flick to the left and the right, as you can see. But we're continuing on straight here, of course, because that's the variation we're doing. I should have definitely known that. Down the back straight, then in towards turn number 14 and 14A. Very high-speed left-hander for this circuit at least, but it slows down and tightens up heading in towards the next corner into what is literally called the roller coaster. The whole circuit may be a bit of a roller coaster, but this section of track is known as the roller coaster. You just got to keep on the limit here. This is a really crucial section of lap for your lap time, really. You get up towards the pit lane, round for the hog pen of turn 17A, and that is a lap with Jordan Kelly around this fabulous circuit. And Kieran, quite excellently done, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, he just makes it look so easy, doesn't he, Jordan Kelly? He really, really does. It's almost a sense of jealousy as he goes to the top of the standings in 53.098 from our championship leader. Peter Dempsey is in second place then, with Sean McGoldrick rounding off our top three, as we'll see drivers just trying to improve as much as possible as we do head towards the halfway mark. But as I said, it's a track that's got a little bit of everything. You talk about the snake section, and then from turn 7 through turn 9 in towards the South Bend, almost kind of Donington Park-esque, that little section there, where you then go downhill towards a slightly sharper corner, almost a 90-degree corner, and you have to really be careful about the downhill entry because it's so easy to lock a brake, especially lock in the front left going through the South Bend as you try and absolutely find the limits of abrasion going through there, and then to try and sort yourself out and be sensible in towards Oak Tree, turn 11, and then in towards turn 12 here, where you really have to slow down the car, and then we get back onto the power then with the number 84 of Alexander Milchan, who is third in the standings, and then it's almost like you can take a breather down the back straight.
Yes, it's a little bit of a breather, but it's kind of deserved because it is very, very hectic throughout the rest of the lap. But Alexander Milchan, you can see with the Milchan man on the side of his car. That's a very much an appreciated pun in my books. Having a phenomenal season for himself. Third in the standings, picking up consistent results week in, week out. He was 6th, 8th and 10th last week. Very consistent considering there's only a 2-point differential from place to place here in RTA. He is driving well. Qualifying maybe not his strong suit, but the races is certainly where he performs, currently in 12th position. This is Peter McCann up in the lofty heights of 4th position for him. He's been another man who's shown traits in the GT4 car, proudly running the Gantry TV bumper sticker on the back of that car, so that's a bit of appreciation from us. But he's unfortunately not the top Peter here so far in qualifying. That belongs to Peter Dempsey, who is 2 tenths adrift of Jordan Kelly. Took his first win last week, did Peter, in the first heat, and was beaten by Jordan in the second too. A bit of a fun fact, and I suppose this is well timed, just considering we're in qualifying. Whoever's taken pole for the first race in every race this season has gone on to win the first race. So Peter will be looking to try and find those 2 extra tenths to make sure he starts in front of the fabulous Jordan Kelly.
And as we all know, those sort of stats, they never get broken, Evan, especially when you bring them up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only problem there. Well, a 50-50 chance, it either continues, that amazing stat, or it ends here tonight. And we haven't got long to find out which it's going to be. But Sean McGoldrick, not too far away either. In fact, with the top 5 separated by less than a quarter of a second at this stage in qualifying. So really great to see as Lawrence de Sosva now goes up into the top 10, 9th fastest with a 1:54.122. Gets himself ahead of Wing Fei Chan for his place into the top 10, onto the 5th row of the grid. Alexander Milchan, 13th place from our 3rd place driver in the standings. No Ryan Ware tonight, I don't believe. He's 5th in the standings right now. So this is a big opportunity for the likes of David Maguire and Conor Melia. Conor Melia, who I'm just having a look up and down the standings here. He's 21st place at the moment. Big chance for Conor to see if he can really get himself, haul himself up the standings, considering there's no Ryan Ware here tonight.
Yeah, big lap from Rory O'Shea there as well. The only man to go within a 10th of Jordan Kelly. He's managed to jump up to 2nd place. So a good effort there from Rory, the Munster man, who is keeping up with the best from times this season. He's sort of a, I wouldn't necessarily say underrated, but maybe underwatched driver. He kind of sneaks himself into good positions in Leighton Heat 3 specifically is when I noticed him. Sean McClemens just popping in behind his brother Dylan McClemens in 7th position, and I actually have or Sean is probably out here to prove me wrong, because I said directly to Sean's face that his brother Dylan was quicker than him. So he's probably here to prove me wrong this evening. But I'm right for now. He's currently a couple of tenths of a second behind Dylan, but I'm sure he'll be en route to change that. Keith Dempsey in 9th, Dermot Toomey in 11th, just ahead of Lawrence Soswa, just ahead of Lawrence Soswa in 11th, and Wing Fei Chan in 12th. Lawrence and Wing Fei always seem to be around that 11th, 12th bubble, but then they slowly progress in the race. So definitely two drivers to keep out come race time. Just under 5 minutes to go here in qualifying. It's looking fairly unbeatable at the top from Jordan Kelly, but we did see quicker times in practice. So we know the times are out there. Let's see who can go and get them.
Yeah, and not many laps to get them now. If you cross the line now, you get about 2 laps, I think. You'll be maybe 3 if you're pretty quick. So you haven't got many chances left to get your lap times in there and get yourself up the order. And as we've already seen, the standings just keep on shaking up. Keith Dempsey got himself up into the top 10. It's put Conor Melia down to 13th place. There is Keith Dempsey just making his way now onto the back straight, perhaps using maybe a little bit of toe from Mohamed Osba up ahead. Who's currently in 25th place. Simon Hutchings is on course maybe to improve as he makes his way towards the line. No, not this time. Although he has set 4 out of those 6 mini sectors. He was quicker than his own personal best. And he gets himself 17th fastest for now. 54.604. A couple of purple sectors being had here. Jordan Kelly owning one of them, but backed off in the latter stages of that lap. Peter Dempsey crossed the line then and goes 3rd fastest. 1 minute 53.271 and pulls himself within 2/10 of a second of that provisional pole time, and he'll have probably 2 chances left if he's got enough fuel to do it.
Yeah, it's such a long lap, so it really does minimise your opportunities here in qualifying. Obviously, once the clock strikes 15, it's like a Cinderella story. We are done here, and there'll be no more running over on your lap. You got to get it in before that 15-minute mark. And a couple of drivers maybe just finishing up their qualifying laps now. We can see Dermot Toomey went to 10th. Dermot currently leading the B Championship as well. Of course, he is en route to the title there. He's only a few points ahead of, he is many points ahead of David Prunty, who before penalties he'd only be a few points ahead, but unfortunately David has picked himself up a few penalty points here nor there, and he's currently on 29 in the B Championship with Dermot Toomey on 77, so there's a big differential there, but Dermot's doing a good job nonetheless. 2 minutes to go in qualifying. A couple of green sectors you can see in the bottom of your screen. Those belong to Enda Farrell. Rory O'Shea putting in one there as well, as is Simon Hutchings. So Simon looking to climb up the order a little bit. Here comes Enda Farrell towards the start-finish line. I don't believe there's going to be much of an improvement there for Enda. He's just over the 2-minute mark, so maybe saving his pace for the race here, Kieran.
Yeah, absolutely. And heading into that crunch time of qualifying, 90 seconds left on the clock as Jordan Kelly is just making his way through. Let's see what he can do then. Can he get a quicker time off the board? He's on a 53.098 right now as he'll make his way towards the line. Can he get himself further ahead on top of that pole spot? Yes, he can. 52.869 from Jordan Kelly does get himself into the 52s. And just like that, he's 3/10 quicker than Rory O'Shea in qualifying. As Sean McCleven's giving us a little bit of screen time. He knows he's on screen, doesn't he? Flashing the lights as he crosses the line, then he'll start at least 7th place if Keith Dempsey has anything to say about it. Here is Keith making his way towards the line in the number 13. Unlucky for some. He makes his way across the line. Can he get an improvement on the board then? Not this time. Stays 9th fastest.
Yes, no improvement for Keith there that time round. That spares Sean McClemens dropping down to 9th position while he's on the broadcast, flashing his headlights at us. That would have been fierce embarrassing for him. Here comes Tony Stack in the Milka livery, just coming through the final couple of corners now. 1 green sector for him, but still could be an overall lap time improvement if he's found a lot in this final sector, just heading up towards the striped checker on the floor now. Is it going to be much of an improvement for Tony, who we are all eagerly awaiting as he is the last car? No. Oh, no, there is. Sorry, it's just come in right there at the end. He has jumped up to 20th position. Here comes Mohamed Osba in towards the final couple of corners. But I tell you what, he's not going to have enough time to finish his lap here. So there won't be an improvement from Mohamed. He'll stay in 21st position. It is Jordan Kelly who, once again, seems the man to beat here this evening.
Absolutely. And there's a livery to beat of Tony Stack as well. Other chocolates are available. It's a great chocolate, though, and a great livery to boot then. But Jordan Kelly, as you said there, Evan, taking top spot by just over 3/10 of a second ahead of Rory O'Shea. And there's Peter Dempsey in third place, Sean McGoldrick in fourth, Peter McCann, who starts in fifth place, Evan Walsh in sixth. Then it's the row four of McClements, Dylan leading Sean in race number one, Keith Dempsey in ninth place, and Dermot Toomey rounding off the top 10. Conor Melia, who's got a big evening if he wants to try and outscore Ryan Ware, who's absent tonight, starting in 11th place.
Yes, Conor Melia in 11th place off the back of some real-life Formula V success. He's a different challenge on his hands here in the GT4 cars. Then it's Lawrence de Soswa in 12th, Wingfake Chan 13th, Colin O'Regan in 14th, Alexander Milchin in 15th. Then it's Stephen Donnelly ahead of Jamal Gandor. Then it is Simon Hutchings, Stephen O'Keefe, and Tony Stack in 12th, in 20th position, I should say. He probably wishes it was 12th position, however. Mohamed Osborne in 21st, David Prunty in 22nd, then it's Mark Ivory in 23rd, Gary Corcoran 21st, and Aaron Dalton will round it out in 25th position. Then it is Philip Upson and Farrell, who unfortunately was a little bit off that pole position. But we're lining up on the grid here at Virginia International Raceway for what should be a fairly long formation lap, but what should be a fairly exciting race, Kieran. I think this one is it's going to be very hectic, I suppose, in the middle of the pack. But the real question is, can Jordan Kelly run away at the front like he has done so many times this season?
Yeah, he didn't find that easy to do last week. He was always kept in close competition. Now, whether that was because he didn't feel the need to push, or whether that was a case of, some people pushing hard around him just to try and make sure they give him a race to remember. Either way, he didn't have that absolutely dominant pace. He just managed to keep himself to himself at 2 wins and a second place last week when we headed to Sebring. He'll be looking for that perfect 3 wins from 3 here tonight. He's got the perfect opportunity to do so, because if your stat is anything to go by, Evan, he starts on pole. So is this a case of we know who the Heat 1 winner is already?
Whenever I say stats like that, it reminds me of in basketball when Stephen Curry was taking a free throw in probably like the 15th game of the season or something. The commentator goes, "He's not missed one this season," and he instantly missed one. So that's what's reminding me of here. But Jordan Kelly will look to prove that wrong, as we don't actually have the full formation lap. The Porsche safety car has pulled into the pit lane, and we go racing here at Virginia International Raceway. That's a great start for Jordan Kelly, getting the jump off Peter Dempsey. They're just crossing the line now. Sean McGoldrick already looking to make up positions on the very fast start for him. You can see Peter Dempsey just about getting a good line in towards the first corner, but couldn't brake late enough. Keith Dempsey making a move on one of the McClements brothers. He's now made the move on both the McClements brothers. He's got ahead of Dylan and he's got ahead of Sean. Both Team DDR cars losing spots, but they're going to gain them back. Keith has a major wobble out of the second corner, and that is going to keep Dylan McClements in 7th position, who runs wide himself now, heading in towards the snake section through left hook. This is incredibly close racing between the 9, the 13 and the 6, and I imagine it's going to continue for the rest of the opening lap.
That's a Keith Dempsey sandwich between 2 McClements if I've ever seen. Oh, there's contact further down the field then. That's the 56 who's around. That's Conor Melia. It's Conor Melia who was hoping really to take full advantage here of an absent Ryan Ware from the standings. But in that Martini livery, he's found himself facing the wrong way. We just cut to the sort of aftermath. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get another one there, as we see someone majorly cutting the grass there, doing some lawn mowing there on the side of this race. But yes, so unfortunate there for Conor Melia as he finds himself all the way down the order.
Yes, Alexander Milchin making a dive on Wingfei Chan in towards, that's turn number 11, and turn number 11, sorry, and he's up to 11. Is the Gantry TV instant replay then. This is the crash involving one of the high flyers of the season, Conor Melia, in the Martini-sponsored Aston Martin. You can just see there one of the McClements ahead, and oh, he's kind of just spun it, heading through the corner. I'm not sure whether there was a little bit of door-to-door contact. Could have been a bit of net code as well, but it's unfortunately sent Conor Melia across the pack and facing the wrong way. A disappointing start for a man who is looking to capitalise on Ryan Ware's absence.
Yeah, it was Dermot Toomey right behind him at that point. As you say, there might have been a bit of net code, but either way, it's unfortunately sent Conor Melia the wrong way and slightly into the wall as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. We'll see if he ever came back in. Evan Walsh is into the pit lane then. So from place in the top 10, is there a bit of damage there for Evan, or is he having some issues there? As Jamal Gandor once again, oh no, Jamal Gandor's around. going in towards the first couple of corners there, and Keith Dempsey is all the way through. Is there a little bit of damage to the... it looks like there wasn't contact going through there. It certainly looked very close, but Jamal Gandor, who was the hero last week in the final heat, had a really good start. He started outside, I think, the top 15 there, managed to break his way towards that top 10. Unfortunately, though, it seems to have been let go.
Yes, Jamal Gandor making contact with the turn 3 motorsport man in towards turn number 1, and that sends him a little bit down the order. 23rd place, so he can still build off that and try to get a good start for heat number 2. Remember, not the reverse grid for heat number 2, but still this grid will set that one as Jordan Kelly up the front, 1.2 ahead of Rory O'Shea. Rory O'Shea driving very well here once again this week. He's picked up a good couple of results across the season. He's looking to pick up a good result here in heat number 1. Usually heat number 3 is where he comes into play, where some of maybe the mid-pack runners come into play, but it's really nice to see him up there from the start. He's ahead of Peter Dempsey, Sean McGoldrick, Peter McCann, Dylan McClemens. Lawrence de Soswa's had a great race start. He's up to 7th position is Lawrence, up 5 spots, so a great race start for him. He'll be very happy with how that one's gone. Still plenty of time to go though. We're only on the second lap of the action.
We are indeed, so plenty to go and plenty of action to be had if you want a spot on the podium. Peter Dempsey is ahead of Sean McGoldrick and Peter McCann, and they're separated by about 1.5 seconds between the 3 positions. There is Peter Dempsey in the turn 3 motorsport machine as he makes his way across the start-finish line, heading away now towards the horseshoe for the 3rd time of asking. And yeah, this is going to be one of the closest ones also to keep an eye on. The battle for 11th place. You've got Colin O'Regan, Dermot Tooby, Stephen O'Keefe, Stephen Donnelly, Mohammed Osbar, Simon Hutchings. I mean, that's a 7-car battle there, as that is Dermot Tooby running a little bit deep through the first corner. That might open him up to a chance here to be had by Stephen O'Keefe right behind.
Yeah, really close fight this one for 11th spot. It's Colin who leads them round through the first sector and in for the first couple of twisty corners before you get onto those longer sweeping ones, I suppose. Still equally as difficult. We're just looking on board here with Stephen Donnelly, who's behind Stephen O'Keefe in 14th spot. He's got Dermot Toomey just in front of him, as you can see, right behind Simon Hutchings, getting past Mohammed Osba down towards the sort of first few of the twisty corners. Turn number 7, 8 and 9. Are they going to go side by side here? This is Tony Stack and Mark Ivory who are coming into your picture shot. Tony behind in the purple car, Mark Ivory in front in the slightly duller grey than the bright purple Milka car. He's got David Prunty right behind. Remember, a man battling potentially for the B Championship title, so every point counts even when you're in 19th. And he does have Sean McClemens, who's looking to close back in through the field after what I would assume is a bit of an incident for him. We saw him maybe wrapped up in that Conor Mellier incident, but Sean down in 20th, not where he wants to be.
Yeah, it was McClemens' 4th row, wasn't it? So to see Sean McClemens down the order in 20th place, he's got a bit of a job on his hands to get himself back up the order as we watch on with Stephen O'Keefe, who's behind Dermot Tooby. But Stephen Donnelly is chasing O'Keefe all the way through at the moment, just keeping him close company right now, as they feed their way now through in towards the South Bend, the final corner at Hogpen, and will make our way on towards the front straight once again. Rory O'Shea with the fastest lap, or his fastest lap, I should say. So keeping tabs on Jordan Kelly as we ride on board with Stephen Donnelly, looking for an outside move in towards the horseshoe, perhaps maybe a switchback on the cards. Not this time. Stephen O'Keefe covers that one off. Might compromise his own exit there, so keep an eye then on Stephen Donnelly, so get the power down here.
It's a very simple looking Aston Martin for Stephen Donnelly, but it gets the job done, and it is a quick car. And you can see here, this is Tony Stack and Mark Ivory going side by side. We saw this battle coming on the last lap. Oh, they've both gone way wide, and Tony Stack does very well to avoid the barriers. I'm not sure whether anyone was at fault there or whether they both just ran wide themselves, but a couple of positions lost for the pair of them. Jamal Gandor now fighting with Tony Stack, so it's an immediate return to the action for Stack as he rejoins onto the asphalt. Gandor himself picks up a little bit of grass on the outside, a little bit of the curb, and he'll now have to sit behind the number 14 all the way down on the run towards the oak tree. This is, I tell you what, it's a fierce fight for the mid-pack points. Even if you're not battling for the front, these guys are really gunning for a good result here, as I believe Hutchings now falls to 15. Stephen O'Keefe up to 12th.
Yeah, there we go then. Oh, so we got, I think that's Stephen O'Keefe running a little bit wide then, washing out through the oak tree and on towards the back straight. So he's lost a couple of positions there. as he'll have to slot his way back in, see if he can find a way back up through the order. Mohamed Osber also looking to see if he can take advantage of this opportunity to try and get car number 12 up into 15th place, up at the top of the standings. So Jordan Kelly still leading by 1.2 seconds ahead of Rory O'Shea. So Rory O'Shea not letting him go anywhere so far, as we rejoin Peter Dempsey then, who has got Sean McGoldrick right behind him. So they've managed to break away from Peter McCann. He's currently 5th place then. It's Dylan McClements in 6th place. Lawrence de Sosva just hovering over that 1 second behind Dylan McClements. So if de Sosva can really start to close in on Dylan McClements, we've already seen in a couple of occasions how powerful the back straight is and how these Aston Martins do punch a very good hole in the air. If you can get into the toe of the car ahead, you really can make up lost time, perhaps through the Snake and through the South Bend, that you would have lost out on following a car through, as Mark Ivory and Jamal Gandor, in fact, that is Tony Stack, who has got past Mark Ivory. So too has Gandor here, as they head their way through in towards the horseshoe. So the Milker car is back up to 19th place.
Yeah, I tell you what, Lawrence de Sosva doing a great job in 7th position there as well. This is a fierce fight. We'll get back to Lawrence in a moment. This is Stephen Donnelly and Mohamed Osba, as it's going to be Osba ahead of Donnelly for the time being. But Lawrence, usually you'd associate Lawrence as, I suppose, maybe sort of a mid-pack driver, but he's lapping really well here. He's only about 0.5 of a second off Jordan Kelly, who's a British Formula 4 champion. So he's no slouch here this evening, is Lawrence. Another man lapping really well is Rory O'Shea. Jordan's putting in some of his best times maybe this season we've seen. Rory still going quicker, about 1/10 of a second lap quicker, set a fastest lap for the second consecutive lap. He's almost into the 42s. They're qualifying times. We barely saw drivers get under that in qualifying. With a minute to go, he's got to get a move on here if he wants to try win this first heat.
Well, will he, is he going to be close enough to try a move here? Yes, we've got a minute to go here, so we should get one more lap's worth of racing as we descend our way now down in towards the South Bend, and then we'll head our way towards the Oak Tree at soon here. But yeah, sorry, I've got caught out again. This is the hog pen, and then we're heading in towards the final corner. It's going to happen a third time, Evan. We'll see when it happens. But yes, here we go then. The white flag should be waving. We should be onto the final lap of this race, and Jordan Kelly leading by just over 3/4 of a second.
And you can see Rory O'Shea 4/10 to better on that lap as well, just in the timing tower there in the top left. This is the battle, however, between Peter Dempsey and Sean McGoldrick. This is for the final place on the podium. Only 2 points separate these two positions, but still, I think saying you got a podium and saying you got 4th, there's a bit of a difference there, that's for sure. Peter Dempsey just ahead of the Aston Martin, liveried Aston Martin. As ironic as that might sound, we have a lot of different variations of colour and sponsors and branding. But Sean McGoldrick going for the classic Aston Martin sort of livery. He's going to try go for a classic Aston Martin move and maybe just about sneak a podium like they have so many times in the World Endurance Championship in Le Mans. You can just see here, this is McGoldrick right on the back of the number 3 down towards the Oak Tree. Oh, I'm not too sure he's close enough really here, Kieran.
No, I don't think he is, but it might not stop him heading in towards the latter stages of the lap. It's difficult to overtake when it comes to corners like the roller coaster and the hog pen, because they undulate so much. It can be very difficult to get the move done here, but Sean McGoldrick will use the back straight, will use the toe of Peter Dempsey. This could be a move here developing up towards turn 13. It's just a case here, if this toe is enough, as we ride on board now with Sean McGoldrick. Will he look for a move? I think he thought about it, but in the end, there's no way through right now. And Peter Dempsey trying to park that car on the apex, but Jordan Kelly here is making his way through these final corners now and looking to try and make it another heat victory.
Yes, here comes Jordan Kelly rounding through the final corners. When he gets to the front, he leads from the front. Usually, he wins from the front. That's exactly how it's played out here in the first heat. Jordan Kelly keeps my statistic alive and wins from pole position here in Heat 1. Sean McGoldrick tried everything in the battle for third. We saw flashing his headlamps at Peter Dempsey heading for the final couple of corners, but Peter holds firm and he'll take third. Then it is going to be the other Peter McCann, who comes home in 5th. Dylan McClements in 6th, holds off Lawrence de Sosva in 7th. Then it's the second of the two Dempseys, Keith in 8th. Oh, this is a drag race to the line between Hutchings and Toomey. Here we go. It's just about Dermot Toomey who takes it by about 18/100 of a second. And it's another drag race to the line here, it seems. That was the battle that was raging on between Osber, Donnelly, McClements. Then it is Prunty, Stack and Gandor rounds out your top 20. And is this the third one? This is the third time really the charm for drag racing, but this time we do actually have an overtake at the line. Gary Corcoran gets ahead of Aaron Dalton right in the final stages. for what is a fairly strong performance from Gary, considering some misfortune throughout the race.
Yeah, great stuff, and a great way to open up racing here tonight. Very much looking forward to seeing how this all plays out in the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup, as we just see Evan Walsh here, the last to take the checkered flags. He'll be starting from the back in the next race, but the only way is up for Evan in the next race, so he'll be looking to see if he can just grab a couple of positions in the next race. But Jordan Kelly doing what he does best, leading from the front and taking another victory here tonight.
Yes, here is your full results then for this first heat. Jordan Kelly in first position, then Rory O'Shea in second, Peter Dempsey in third, Sean McGoldrick in fourth, Peter McCann in fifth, and Dylan McClements in sixth. Funnily enough for Dylan, I'm not sure what's gone wrong there, but we have a system in RTA in the Discord that's called Garage. Oh, hold on, what's it called? Garage 61. Very big thanks to Rowan Henneman behind the scenes who's correcting that again. And I got a notification just as that race finished that Dylan McClemens beat the all-round lap record here. So I'm not sure what's gone wrong around there. But Dylan, clearly quick. Lawrence de Salzwa in seventh, then Keith Dempsey eighth, Alexander Milchin in ninth, Wingfei Chan in 10th. Remember, as they finish in the first, they start in the second. So it's Colin O'Regan in 11th, ahead of Dermot Toomey in 12th. We look a little bit down the order then. It's Simon Hutching 13th, Stephen O'Keefe in 14th, and it is Mohammed Hosba lining up in 15th.
Yep, Stephen Donnelly will join him on row number 8 there in 16th place. Then it's Sean McClements in 17th, hoping to get back up the order. David Prunty in 18th. Then it's the milker car of Tony Stack and Jamal Gandor, last week's driver of the day, starting in P20. Mark Ivory and Conor Melia share row 11. It's Enda Farrell and Gary Corcoran sharing row 12. Row 13 is Aaron Dalton and Philip Upson. And all on their own on row number 14, it's Evan Walsh in that Virtual Race Academy machine. Well, we are rolling, and it is the short rolling lap, of course, as we were treated to in race number 1. So we should get racing underway fairly shortly. Jordan Kelly looking to make it back-to-back victories, of course, ahead of race number 3, which is top 8 reversed. But Evan, this is a chance here for Rory O'Shea. If he's on the money here, he could have a move in towards the horseshoe.
Yes, needs a good start though, because of course remember Jordan will be able to control the pace. Jordan Kelly kind of ebbs and flows in how many races he wins an evening. In the first round he won 1, second round he won 2, third round he won 1, fourth round he won 2. He's already won 1 here this evening. He's going to look to try break that trend as the green flag is out. We go racing here at Virginia International Raceway for the second of 3 heats here this evening. Great start from Peter Dempsey in towards the first corner. He's putting Rory O'Shea under a huge amount of pressure. O'Shea has to defend to the inside. Dempsey's going to try the up and under, but Rory parks his GT4 machine right on the apex. No avenue for Dempsey to squeeze his car through. He's now under pressure from McGoldrick in towards the third corner.
Yeah, great start from Jordan Kelly, controlling that pace, and actually really good defending there from Rory O'Shea. I thought he was going to wash out going in towards the horseshoe, and Peter Dempsey, as you say, was going to try the up and under, but Rory O'Shea held firm, held on to that position, and now we can try and focus on just matching those lap times and trying to get quicker than Jordan Kelly, see if he can close up there. And that is Stephen Donnelly, who's around. Oh, there's Mohammed Osbar, who's also around the number 12 machine. Also another cut up off ahead as he stopped right in the middle of the track there, as that's Gary Corcoran. Everyone so far has managed to find a way around, but that's one of the worst places you can find yourself stopped on this racetrack. It's such a high speed part of the track.
Yeah, I'm not sure who was exactly behind Gary, but they did exceptionally well to avoid him there in that case. We're looking at Keith Dempsey now, who maybe just ran a little bit too tight in towards that corner. It's a double apex right-hander, of course, at the oak tree of 11 and 12, so you kind of want to run wide and then sweep in. Keith not necessarily doing that, and God knows what these 4 are doing in the mid-pack, because this is all-round chaos, just like it was in the first heat between O'Regan, Hutchings, O'Keefe and McClements. You can see, here comes Simon Hutchings. He's got an exceptional slipstream down towards turn number 14, and he's looking to make multiple moves maybe in towards the corner. They're 2 by 2 in front, so he's not able to overtake for now. It's going to be O'Keefe, O'Regan, Hutchings, McClements, just for now, with David Prunty very close behind.
Yeah, O'Regan was just keen on not letting Simon Hutchings have full advantage of the toe he got. He got a massive run, did Hutchings there, but O'Regan there made sure that that wasn't the case for much longer, as we see them now make their way over that crest on towards the front straight to start another lap here as we head towards the horseshoe. Sean McClements we're riding on board with in the team DDR machine, looking for a move down the inside of Simon Hutchings here. He is later on the brakes. If he can snatch that inside line away, he can indeed. And for Sean McClements, who qualified on the 4th row of this grid. He now finds himself back up into 14th place here in race number 2, and it's just a case of trying to climb the order. Speaking of climbing the order, Evan Walsh, who started at the back of this grid in 27th place, is now up into P18, so a good start from Evan Walsh.
Yeah, good start from Evan Walsh. He's up to 18th position now, ahead of Connor in 19th. End of Farrell getting past Mark Ivory for 22nd. Up the front, however, Jordan Kelly has a 5/10 of a second lead over Rory O'Shea. That's not as large as it was in the first race by this point. So Rory getting away better, was able to defend from Peter Dempsey in towards the first couple of corners, and now he'll just stay ahead for the time being. Jordan Kelly, of course, a two-time RTA V champion. He knows how to win championships. Narrowly missed out last season, but doing a great job here nonetheless. That's Sean McClemens, who's lost a couple of spots to David Prunty and Jamal Gandor, and now Conor Melia, and that's why he's lost a couple of spots. He's backwards, heading across the grass in towards turn number 11. Something's gone wrong there for Sean. I wonder, can we get another look at it potentially? But it's really not been Sean McClemens' evening so far, Kieran.
No, it really hasn't. It started out so promising here. So we'll see him tackle his way through the corner. Does he get a little bit of a helping hand, perhaps? Or is it just riding the curves wrong? No, I think that's some sort of hardware failure. That doesn't look like a natural mistake there, in all honesty. But I could be wrong. But the fact that he's not really stopping that quickly, I think there's some deeper issue at hand there.
I think Sean will be very thankful that you've said that, Kieran. It's a weird one.
Well, you know what? I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's how I'm staying here, Evan. That's how I'm staying here.
It's a mistake that you usually wouldn't make, which would lead you to think potentially something like that. We'll have to ask Sean afterwards and see, can we get an inside report.
He'll just agree with me, Evan. It'll be all right.
Yeah, he will. But this is Jamal Gandor and Simon Hutchings who are fighting. Or, sorry, this is actually David Prunty, I believe. That is Jamal Gandor, who is ahead of the man in 15th position. Yep, that is David Prunty. Apologies, in the 52. Jamal, podium last time out, first ever podium in RTA. Currently 14th here. I know third to 14th might sound like a fall from grace, but honestly, Jamal's had a good evening so far. He's not driven too shabby at all. He's been in a lot of battles, had some misfortune in the first race, and is driving well. Gap up the front slowly coming down. Rory O'Shea and Peter Dempsey are not letting the championship leader get away as well as he did in the first one.
No, not at all. And it was a couple of laps in, and the top 10 were pretty much all a second away from each other. Keith Dempsey trying for a move round to try and get past Dylan McClements there. They're going to run side by side, door to door. But then Dylan McClements is going to say, that's my line, and take it away from Keith Dempsey. And in that battling, in that squabbling, they are now 3 seconds behind Sean McGoldrick. Keith Dempsey here, possibly a little bit of bump drafting here, up towards the next corner. Now he moves to the inside then to try and dive away up the inside as we head away through the roller coaster, but Dylan McClements has that covered then. Good defensive display from McClements to hold Keith Dempsey at bay for now. But look who's joined the fray here. It's Lawrence de Sosva. He fancies his chances at throwing the hat in the ring for 5th place.
Yeah, Dylan McClements, who's just shown exceptional experience in towards that sector, is the youngest driver in RTA at the moment. You would not think it going by that battle, because I tell you what, he's making Keith Dempsey work for every ounce of track he's got. In towards turn number 1, Dempsey's gone off for the outside. De Soswa just going to be a very keen spectator here. Is Keith Dempsey. Oh, that's a beautiful little up and under. Keith has sold Dylan McClements, the dummy, in towards turn number 1, and he's got ahead. That's going to allow De Soswa to get to the outside for the NASCAR bend at turn number 3. Lawrence has to work it around the outside here. Is he going to be able to do it? Runs a little bit wide, but stays ahead for now. Lawrence de Soswa, that's an incredible piece of driving from him. He's on form like he's never been, and Keith Dempsey's gone round. He's magically appeared the right way, however, but definitely lost some time and some space. A hectic couple of first corners here in the 4th lap of Heat 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Keith Dempsey went for a half spin, and I think he might have been just righted the right way by either McClements or Milchin right behind, so he doesn't lose out too much time. He loses a couple of positions in that. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a dent, perhaps, in his Aston Martin there. Nevertheless, take nothing away from Lawrence de Sosva. What a fantastic move. He sized up. He was sitting there waiting with the popcorn, waiting for Keith Dempsey to do all the work. That was a fantastic move from Dempsey in the first place, in towards the horseshoe. And I wonder if we can have a look back at that at some point from Lawrence de Sosva's point of view, because the fact that he had to time that so perfectly there was absolutely brilliant. We'll see what he can do for the rest of the race, see if he can close up to this top 4 battle. But with 7.5 minutes to go, 6 seconds to close up, well, Lawrence will be hoping that the top four start to squabble away, and they're not really that far away from doing so.
Lawrence de Salzburg, of course, running very successful social medias. I'm sure there'll be a clip posted of this somewhere. Here is Lawrence de Salzburg then in what I'd say is one of his best moves in RTA. Keith Dempsey, beautiful switchback in towards turn number 1. Here comes Lawrence de Salzburg trying it round the outside in towards the turn number 3 corner, and you can just about see here how wide he has to run. Really a cracking move from Lawrence. Gets the job done. And then this is where it all unfolds between Keith Dempsey, as you can just see him there. I think he was almost hit back round from one of the cars, but he was corrected by Dylan there, just getting it from Ronan in the background. He was corrected by Dylan. So, I mean, Dylan might have spun around in the first place, but I mean, he said it sorry pretty quickly.
He said sorry by taking his position, but nevertheless, he does get himself 6th place. But that means that Keith Dempsey's down to 8th at the moment. Still in that battle though. Evan Walsh also trying to make up some positions as he goes down the inside. Oh, sorry, that's Conor Melia going down the inside of Evan Walsh there. So Melia fighting his way back through the order and looking to score some vital points as we head towards the back end of the season. Alexander Milchin then currently 3rd in the standings, now under pressure from Keith Dempsey as Milchin goes a little bit onto the grass there. And if there's one thing you don't really want to do for Keith Dempsey is show him a little bit of a mistake, because that's like blood to a shark for Keith Dempsey. He'll be all over the back of Milchin now.
He will. He'll be eyeing this one up as his brother Peter is eyeing up 2nd position maybe, but he's going to have to do a bit of defensive work first. Sean McGoldrick trying to get past Peter Dempsey in similar fashion that he did in the first heat. With about 9 minutes on the clock, he started looking for a move. The good thing is, in this second heat, he has plenty more time to do so. It's not the end of the race just yet. We've got a 15-minute heat here, then a 20-minute heat coming up in the final race of the evening. That, of course, is a reverse top 8. That one is usually the most chaotic of the night, but with good reason. Here comes Tony Stack trying to overtake Enda Farrell. This is for a 20th spot. And I tell you what, we're seeing a lot of Tony Stack this evening. That's because he's in some great battles. And I've just noticed Enda Farrell has painted his car like the Formula 1 safety car. That's a different twist on things.
Let's hope that nobody falls for it. I see what Enda Farrell's trying to do. Oh no, it's the safety car. You have to stay behind it. Hopefully not many people have fallen for it just yet. But Tony Stack in the Milker car finds himself behind. And there's Mohamed Osbar as well, looking for his chances, as there is a run from the Milker car of Tony Stack trying to get up the inside of Enda Farrell as we make our way towards the horseshoe. Also a move from Mark Ivory up ahead of them as well, as there's all sorts of battles going on. And just like at Sebring last week, we're really not sure where to look. There's action everywhere you look there. But that's Enda Farrell, who now finds himself behind Aaron Dalton, who might have had a little bit of a moment through towards the horseshoes. He's lost a couple of positions there. Mark Ivory now up to 18th. Tony Stack up to 19th. And now Mohamed Osbar up into the top 20. There is Simon Hutchings then, as he tries to chase down Colin O'Regan. Battle for 9th place involving, that's going to be 5 cars, I believe. There's Wing Fei Chan, who's also looking on here as Colin O'Regan trying to fend off the attack of Simon Hutchings there, and then possibly making going from defence to attack as he sees Stephen O'Keefe right up ahead of him.
Yes, we see Colin O'Regan looking to break in towards the top 10 past Stephen O'Keefe and closer towards Dermot Toomey in 9th, but he's got a bit of work to do to get past the 17 of Stephen O'Keefe. About 4 minutes to do so has Colin, so he can get it done pretty soon. And you can see in the background there Colin Melia getting past David Prunty. That's for 14th. Connor looking to work his way slowly back up. There's still plenty of time to go in this second heat. Still a lot of positions to be decided, including for the race win, which is 4/10 of a second. But the closest battle for now is this battle between Colin O'Regan and Stephen O'Keefe heading onto the main straight.
Yeah, Peter Dempsey now with the fastest lap of the race, 52.677. But Colin O'Regan and Simon Hutchings running pretty much side by side here, which is great to watch as Keith Dempsey gets down the inside now of Alexander Milchin in towards the first corner. Colin O'Regan has still got Simon Hutchings in his rear view mirror, but there is Conor Melia up the inside of Wing Fei Chan, who runs slightly deep in towards the horseshoe there. That's going to allow the likes of David Prunty and Evan Walsh maybe to try and close up behind as well. But from Stephen O'Keefe all the way down to Evan Walsh, they're all involved in a battle here for a place in the top 10 and for a place on 18th place. Tony Stack, Mohamed Osbar and Mark Ivory all squabbling away through the horseshoe.
Tell you what, McCallum Osborne, Tony Stack, Mark Ivory are all going to be a bit sick of each other after this evening because they seem to be sharing the same bit of track for pretty much the entire 22 minutes we've had of racing so far. Maybe even for qualifying, we just didn't see it. This is the battle for the race lead. However, we're looking back from the Team Dolan car of Jordan Kelly on towards the bonnet of Rory O'Shea. Rory, who is usually known for his karting success, racing in the Tillotson T4 for High Prix, also a sim racer for High Prix. He's in the High Prix car there in the number 10. He's given Jordan a good go here this evening, but I would love to see him try and overtake in these last couple of stages.
Yeah, I wonder here because obviously the top 8 get reversed for the third race. Now, that's always going to be in the back of your mind when you go for a last-ditch move to get yourself ahead going into the final couple of corners. But as we make our way through now and across the start-finish line, it's going to be, yes, this will be now heading into the final lap of this race. It was looking a bit close, but this will be the final lap of the race. Rory O'Shea lapped a little bit quicker there than Jordan Kelly, and further behind them, this battle for the top 10, I mean, place your bets because it's going to be very hectic for them in these final 5.2 kilometres or so. And we've got someone there with the windscreen wipes on, perhaps the wrong button pressed in such a tight-fisted affair.
They're just used to the Irish weather recently. It's very on and off, even when it's sunny. This is a titanic battle here. Look at Evan Walsh trying to sneak past the both of them. That's Hutchings and Chan, and that is Simon Hutchings gone round to the first corner. That's him down and out. Bit of contact between himself and Evan Walsh, maybe. Walsh sneaks through up to 12th. They're now going to try and attack Conor Melia for 11th position. Actually, there is a bit of a gap between those two, so he's probably just going to defend from Wingfay for the rest of this race. This is Stephen O'Keefe just ahead of Conor Melia in 10th spot. I tell you what, these guys will probably enjoy the little break we have coming up in the two heats. This has been high, intense racing here in the mid-pack.
Yeah, it really has. You've really had to have your wits about you in making sure you make the right moves at the right time, place the car perfectly to make sure you're in a good spot to attack, but also a greater spot to defend. As Jamal Gandor here, perhaps looking for a move up the inside, but he's lost it. He's got run way too deep there, going through in towards the south bend and takes to the grass to recover. Meanwhile, then, battle for the lead will be making its way on towards the back straight, possibly towards the roller coaster. Here they are then, Jordan Kelly leading them through then in towards the final few corners.
Yes, here comes Jordan Kelly. It's going to be 2 from 2, and he'll continue his trend of winning 2 races in an evening after an evening where he wins 1. But Rory O'Shea might not get second here. Dempsey might be able to get the run. No, he will not. It'll be the Jordan Kelly show once again across the line. He's going to take the win in heat number 2 ahead of Rory O'Shea for the second consecutive race tonight, and Peter Dempsey in third. It's the same way they finished in the first one. Sean McGoldrick in fourth. Lawrence de Soswa after that excellent overtake is going to come ahead in 5th spot. That is Stephen O'Keefe, who's dropping down the order again. He's just pulling onto the grass. That is McGoldrick headed to Soswa ahead of McClements. Excellent result for Lawrence here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see now, the rest of the field make their way across the line. Colin Media now in 9th, and Evan Walsh from the back of the grid makes his way up to 10th place. I believe, if my math is right, that's 17 places gain for Evan Walsh in race 2. Brilliant for him. He gets himself 10th place for the next race as well, so he can try and move even further up the order. Tony Stack does win out the battle between himself and Mohamed Osbar as Mark Ivory started to fall away towards the end of that race, finished 2 seconds off them. Enda Farrell finishing in P21. Aaron Dalton finishing in 22nd place. Sean McClements recovering to 23rd place, and that is where he will start the next race. Great racing. A couple of incidents up and down the field, but in general, some fantastic racing on display. And Jordan Kelly, the very familiar name, Evan, is still at the top of the standings.
Yes, he is cementing his place as the champion almost. He's sort of the champion-elect at this point after these solid results. It is Jordan Kelly at the top, Rory O'Shea in second, Peter Dempsey in third, Sean McGoldrick in fourth, Lawrence de Soswa in fifth. Then it is Dylan McClements, Alexander Mielchin, Dermot Toomey, Conor Melia in ninth, Evan Walsh in 10th, and Wingfei Chan in 11th, David Prunty in 12th, Colin O'Regan in 13th, with Keith Dempsey in 14th, and Jamal Gandor in 15th spot. Then it is Simon Hutchings, who is ahead of Stephen O'Keefe and Tony Stack. Those two were battling for pretty much the entire race, but finished 10 seconds apart. And then it was Mohamed Osba in 19th, Mark Ivory in 20th. Then it was Enda Farrell, Aaron Dalton, Sean McClements, Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran, Peter McCann, unfortunately finishing, or not finishing, I should say, then Stephen Donnelly at the back. We're going to have a couple of interviews now. We're going to hear from the top two ahead of the final race. But first, let's bring in your double winner on pole sitter here this evening, Jordan Kelly. Hello, Jordan. Congratulations so far this evening. 2 wins and a pole. Have you started thinking maybe that you can win the third now?
We'll see about that. No, I think I'll just try and just don't cause too much bother because it seems like a track that it could cause bother if you're looking for. I'll probably just try and pick turn one handy and we'll see how it goes after that.
From our perspective, anyways, it's looked like Rory's given you a fairly good go here this evening. Have you been pushing flat out to stay ahead of him, or are you fairly relaxed through these races?
I have been at max pace, like so. Rory does have the pace around here, so that'll be an interesting third race now. See if me, Peter, Rory, Sean was there too. See how if we can get through the pack nice and cleanly.
And you said you're not looking for bother in this third race, but as it's a reverse grid, of course, you'll be starting 8th. Do you have your mind set on maybe some corners you can overtake on, some corners that you'll be saying, okay, I'll be staying behind, or are you just going to see how it comes in front of you and just play it how it is?
Yeah, I'll probably play it out as, but I know from racing here before, it's so hard to line up a pass if the other guy in front has a toe. Probably just have to try and catch people off guard in a way. So we'll do that and not cause any issues.
Well, Jordan, best of luck for the third race, and if your pace is anything to go by, we'll probably be speaking to you after it again.
Hopefully so.
Good to hear from Jordan there ahead of the third race and after his first 2 wins. I'm going to hand it over to Kieran now, where we'll hear from Rory O'Shea.
We will indeed. And Rory O'Shea, 2 second places. Rory, this time you're going to be starting ahead of Jordan Kelly. And we've just heard from Jordan. He said he's been at full pace this whole evening. You managed to keep up with him. What's the game plan heading into the reverse grid race?
I think try and just dodge the chaos. It usually seems to be the case at Virginia where you can gain a lot of positions up by just being smart, especially on a reverse grid race. So I think just keep it clean, try to keep ahead of Jordan and Peter and see how it goes.
Now, we've seen here at Virginia, there's been a lot of overtaking for positions behind you, but not so much changes of position between the top 3. Is that a case of you're prioritising your position now, or are there just simply not places to make an overtake stick?
I mean, I was pushing full strength, and I'm sure Jordan and Pete were too. I think it was the case we were all just equal pace to each other that we just couldn't get close enough.
And you've got the likes, you'll have the likes of Alexander Milchin, Dylan McClements, Lawrence de Sosfa, Sean McGoldrick all starting ahead of you, with Jordan Kelly behind. I mean, this is turning into a bit of a tasty race number 3. Is it a case of just trying to keep your cool heading into the final race? Can you take a race win from this?
I don't see why not. Like, there's a lot of quick guys you mentioned there, but I think it's just a case of trying picking them off one by one and seeing how far up I can get.
Great stuff, Rory. We'll leave you to your race prep and good luck for the final race. And hopefully we'll see you back here very soon.
Yeah, cheers.
Rory O'Shea there looking to get that race victory. And of course, Evan, he's starting ahead of Jordan Kelly. The top 3 haven't changed much, but as we've just heard from Rory there, they've been going at full pace. So really, there hasn't been many overtaking opportunities between the top 3 entirely because they're pretty much matching each other for that pace. Now that we've reversed that, will we see something different, especially when they're having to negotiate their way through drivers they've been finishing 10 seconds ahead of?
Yes, exactly. And we saw in that race that the gap didn't really fluctuate that much between Jordan and Rory. I think I remember saying on about lap 2 or something, the gap was about 5 tenths. It ended 5 tenths, and that's exactly how close they really are. They're both pushing to the maximum, and I'd like to see Jordan being challenged, maybe not in terms of wheel to wheel, but certainly pace-wise. But here is your reverse grid then for the third and final heat. And I tell you what, it's a bit of a testament to Dermot Toomey. He's leading the B Championship, which is traditionally for iRacers under a certain level. He's on pole for the entire thing here in heat number 3, so he's going to be a really interesting driver to watch out for. Alexander Milchin, third in the standings, has picked up some very consistent results. Will he be able to potentially take his first podium in second we'll have to wait and see. Dylan McClemens starts in third. Another man always to watch out for in these reverse grid races. Lawrence de Soswa in fourth. He could really, really round off a fantastic evening here in this third heat if he's able to take a strong finish. Sean McGoldrick in fifth, ahead of Peter Dempsey in sixth. Rory O'Shea in the high prey in seventh, and Jordan Kelly in eighth. We've got to watch out for them, of course, first and second in the first two heats. Then it is Conor Melia ahead of Evan Walsh, Wingfei Chan, and David Prunty.
Yeah, a good, strong top 12 there to be had in the order. Keith Dempsey 13th, Colin O'Regan 14th, Simon Hutchings 15th, with Jamal Gandor in 16th place, as we'll see them rolling now. So Alexander Milchen and Dermot Toomey are going to be almost side by side, heading it down towards the first corner. But Evan, for the final time tonight, we're about to start here at the Virginia International Raceway.
Yes, we are, and it looks slightly duller for some reason. I'm not sure whether I'm just too accustomed to dull weather these days, but it's looking duller here at the Virginia International Raceway, a racetrack that actually in early 2013 had one of the only female track owners in the United States. That was Connie Nileholm, who took ownership of it. But nonetheless, enough about this circuit. We have a fantastic, fantastic final race coming up for you folks. They're rounding through the final corner now. It's going to be Dermot Toomey for the first time this season to control the pace at the front as we go racing here for the final heat in Virginia International Raceway. It's Toomey who's got a good launch on Milchen. Milchen under big pressure behind from McClemens and from de Soswa in towards turn number one. You can just see there de Soswa in the blue and blue machine. McClemens, big dive down the inside with the RTA bumper sticker in towards the first corner. It's Dylan McClemens up to second position. He wants another taste of RTA glory. That goes without question. Here comes Peter Dempsey looking for the move as well. Peter Dempsey, a lot of experience around American racing circuits, racing with Andretti Autosport back in his day. He knows his way around a tight, twisty American circuit. He knows his way past an overtake. Dempsey up to third.
Doesn't he just? Peter Dempsey just taking no prisoners there, moving himself up the order. Jordan Kelly has got himself clear of Rory O'Shea, so that's one position up. He's right on the tail now of Sean McGoldrick as we'll head away through in towards the snaking section. Ronan said there's no spinners. Well, I have to put so far in that one because we're just about making our way through the snake now, and then we'll head away onwards then towards this S section, heading our way down towards South Bend as Dermot Toomey is trying to fend off the attack of Dylan McClemens there. There is contact between the two of them, and Peter Dempsey sniffs that blood then and dives himself up the inside at the oak tree and moves himself now into the lead of the race. And that was a case of Dylan McClemens there. Thought he had the move on Alexander Milchen, but still has second place by the fact of Peter Dempsey, who takes absolute full advantage of that wide open door to move himself into the lead of the race.
Yes, won the first heat last week, did Peter Dempsey. He'd like another win on the board here this evening, and he is ahead of Dylan McClemens, but he's got a fight in his hands. Dylan is not a man to give up. Here comes Jordan Kelly down the inside of Sean McGoldrick, gets the job done. Rory O'Shea in 8th has already been dispatched by Jordan Kelly, so Jordan proving that he can race in these tight packs as well. He's not just a lead from the front kind of driver. Next on his target is the pole man for this race, Dermot Toomey, who is still riding the tail of Lawrence de Soswa. Even though he's down to 5th, it's not to say that Dermot has had a maybe poor race start. He's still in good pace. Here comes the high prey, Rory O'Shea, down in towards the first corner. You can see just in front there, is that Lawrence de Soswa looking for a move? Nope, apologies. That is Dermot Toomey, who's just overtaken the championship leader of Jordan Kelly. The B-champ man pulling the wool over the A-champ's eyes.
Great stuff to see. Great battling between them as well. Rory O'Shea did manage to clear Evan Walsh, move himself up into 7th place as we head away through. And there's a spinner. It's the number 4, Evan Walsh, who was high flying going into this race. He moved up 17 positions in race number 2, but now finds himself tumbling down the order once again. And let's see what happened, Evan Dalton.
Yes, it is one Evan talking on another Evan's shenanigans towards turn number 3. Oh, I think he's just tapped the car in front and sent it round. Evan Walsh, we couldn't catch this slide this time round, and unfortunately he is down the order a little bit. A disappointing spin for a man who's been rather competitive here this evening.
Yeah, and I was really banking on him getting some moves up there. As there we see then Rory O'Shea trying to go up the inside of Dermot Toomey. He knew he had to make that move, Rory O'Shea, and got it done. And in the time we've seen that replay there, Dermot Toomey's gone from 5th place, holding back Jordan Kelly, down to 7th place by the time we hit the oak tree. So now Toomey will have that little bit of toe from Rory O'Shea to try and drag him along the straight a little bit. Peter Dempsey, though, leads the way ahead of Dylan McClements in 2nd place. Then 3rd place is Alexander Milchen, who's 3rd in the standings heading into tonight, but he's closely followed here by Lawrence de Sosva, who's itching for that 3rd place to take away from Milchen up ahead of him. Jordan Kelly in 5th place, Rory O'Shea in 6th, Dermot Toomey in 7th place, Sean McGoldrick in 8th, with Keith Dempsey in 9th, and Conor Melia is rounding off the top 10.
I tell you what, this is the perfect example of why I love sim racing. There's a man who won the 2013 Freedom 100, which is the Indy 500 version in Indy Lights, versus the 14-year-old cousin of an Irish Formula V Emerson Fittipaldi Trophy winner, and they're both equally as quick. So that's just why I love everything to do with sim racing. Dylan McClements is giving Peter Dempsey a right out go at the front here. And that's no disrespect to Formula V, by the way. Absolutely love the class. This is Sean McGoldrick, who's looking to try and attack Dermot Toomey in towards 7th position, of which he wasn't able to get it done this time round. Keith Dempsey is just biting at the bit right behind, just trying to get ahead of the man in 8th position. Not able to get it done now. This is Alexander Milchen against Lawrence de Soswa. This is the Potato Nation owner and a Potato Nation, I suppose, fan member, really. I'm not sure that's the correct terminology, but he watches Lawrence's videos, that's for sure. Now getting to race with the main man himself. It is Alex ahead of Lawrence, and then it is the championship leader Jordan Kelly right behind. This could be a right out scrap down towards the oak tree.
Yeah, as Lawrence is also trying a little bit of a different line here, perhaps to try and see if he can find a way past Milchen. He'll cut back inside, see if he can get the power down earlier, but I think Milchen just sort of parked that on the apex. Jordan Kelly saw that one coming because he's now door to door here with Lawrence de Sosva, and now trying to take advantage of that toe that's being left by Alexander Milchen. The only problem is he might find himself a little bit boxed in here, will Jordan Kelly. It will allow Lawrence de Sosva to take the inside line, really, no matter what. Will he try and break later? Then we'll run side by side through here, and still Jordan Kelly has that inside line. Oh, and then Lawrence de Sosva washes out slightly, and that hands over the position there to Jordan Kelly. Meanwhile, Rory O'Shea has managed to try and sniff out that opportunity. No way through this time around. Lawrence de Sosva manages to recover that position and keep himself in 5th place. But that's Jordan Kelly now up into 4th place, and this could be a move for him against Milchen going down towards the first corner.
Yes, here comes Jordan Kelly and Alexander Milchen in towards the first corner. Lap traffic pulling out of the way there. This is Jordan Kelly on the inside of Milchen. I think Milchen knows his own race there. He's not necessarily fought at the hardest in the world. And there is a crash in the background, I believe. Yeah, de
Sosva and Toomey, I think, have crashed at the horseshoe. We'll see if we can get another look at that one. Heading down in towards turn 1. Let's see what happened between de Sosva and Toomey then, heading in towards the horseshoe. So we see then that's Toomey on the inside, a bit of lap traffic jumping out of the way, and that's contact between the two, and de Sosva just gets collected there by the number 2, had nowhere to go, unfortunately, but de Sosva, who's running a great day, and there's the number 17 just joining in that camera shot. I think might have got a little bit caught up by the bunching up as well, but such a shame for Lawrence because he was running a really good day today. He's still got time to try and fight his way back through, although the spirits might be running a little bit low here because he's all the way down to 17th place.
Yeah, disappointing for Lawrence. He kind of seems to have a lot of bad luck in these Heat 3s, and unfortunately for Lawrence, he might have a great Heat 1 and 2, but what happens in Heat 3 is ultimately his reflection of it. I hope he's not too disheartened after what's been a very solid evening. This is Enda Farrell in the safety car, who's making an overtake on Stephen O'Keefe. You don't usually hear the safety car making an overtake, but he is, and he's ahead of Stephen Donnelly, trying to get past Stephen O'Keefe in that very cleverly designed Aston Martin. You can see there just a little bit in front. This is Jamal Gandor under pressure from Sean McClements. Sean never really recovered from his incident in heat number 1, had another bit of a spin in heat number 2, and he is trying to get past Jamal Gandor now. But the battle on the front still rages on, Kieran. It's Milchen now looking to defend from Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, down in towards the horseshoe we will go then, riding on board now with Milchin. Rory O'Shea right on his tail, looks for the inside move, and you'll see here Rory O'Shea will try and be later on the brakes. Then down the inside we go. Sean McGoldrick looking for a move on Keith Dempsey further behind as well, as Rory O'Shea just about gets that move done. But look at Sean McGoldrick. Milchin struggled there through the horseshoe. That's allowed Sean McGoldrick to get 2 positions for the price of 1 overtake, and he moves himself now up into 5th place. So opportunistic driving from McGoldrick, and it's paid off big time. I was also looking up at the front as well. Jordan Kelly's closing in, but not as massively as I thought he might have been. 3.5 seconds with himself and Dylan McClements. And you do get those, especially when you come to sprint racing or perhaps endurance racing, you do get those unlikely teammates going through there. Perhaps Peter Dempsey and Dylan McClements working together at this stage to just say, look, we've got to get away from Jordan Kelly. We can't do that by squabbling. Let's just match our pace. Don't go for any overtakes. Then we can squabble later on.
As there's a bit of a disconnect, I'm hearing there for Keith Dempsey, who's fallen down to 23rd. Yeah, he's down and out of it. Very disappointing for the Turn 3 Motorsport man, who was having a fairly alright race. Maybe not as strong as Peter up the front, but nonetheless from Keith. Rory O'Shea set a new RTA lap record one of the few trips round ago, because he has now improved to beat what Dylan McClements maybe said a few heats ago. And yeah, Dylan and Peter have raced on track with Jordan, like in one of the first 2 heats, where it's predominantly based off pace, so we know they can compete. Here comes Stephen Donnelly looking to get past the milker car of Tony Stack, down towards turn number 14 of the roller coaster. This race, bit of a roller coaster for Tony Stack in itself. He's been up and down this mid-pack battle. Currently finds himself a nice home in 16th. He's going to look to try keep that for the conclusion.
Yeah, for Tony Stack, the roller coaster is a real nemesis, isn't it? But he's managed to make his way through and try and get himself up that milk car up to 16th place. Here's Evan Walsh. Oh, there's a bit of contact there behind Ender Farrell. Just about hooked that rear right quarter panel there, but somehow Ender Farrell keeps that facing the right way and keeps pressing on now towards the horseshoe. But Evan Walsh is very, very much keen and eager to make up positions here, and he'll look for the inside move, but Ender Farrell closes that door, although it reopens again for Evan Walsh to try and move around the outside here, going in towards NASCAR Ben. He really will have to sweep his way around the outside, which he does, lights up the rear tyres over the curb, but Evan Walsh now is up into 18th place.
Fantastic save for Evan Walsh. We might have to name that corner after him now as well. Ender Farrell just behind him now, losing that position up the front. Something maybe, no, I wouldn't say it's gone wrong for Dylan McClements, but Peter Dempsey certainly has found a turn of pace. He's increased that gap to 2.5 seconds, and Jordan Kelly is closing in rapidly. So is Rory O'Shea, though 2 seconds behind. We still have just under half of this race to go. I'd say it's a little bit far-fetched to say that Rory might be able to pass and get ahead of Jordan Kelly, who he hasn't really managed to pass this evening. Lawrence de Solswell working his way back up through after that spin. He's already up to 11th. He's recovered quite quickly from that one. I know he was up in the lofty heights of 4th and 5th, but still doing a good job nonetheless. He's under pressure from Sean McClements in towards the roller coaster. Is McClements going to try last of the late breakers potentially? If I know Sean McClements, I'd say he will in towards this next sweeping left-hander. It's McClements who just treads the needle, but de Solswell stays there. That's great crafty racing from Lawrence de Solswell, but Sean McClements is going to get ahead nonetheless. I tell you what, Lawrence de Solswell's really put it up to some of these guys this evening. I definitely thought he was going to stay ahead for the time being, but Sean just shows why he can be one of the top dogs here in RTA on his chosen evening.
Absolutely, and this battle for 11th place, it's 2 drivers that have had a difficult day at some point, and they're meeting each other on the same bit of tarmac, giving ourselves some great racing through the roller coaster and the hog pen. Alexander Milchin then under pressure now from Conor Melia as we head our way through in towards the NASCAR bend now, and onwards and upwards we go. Battle for 6th place, and they're also going to be joined here by Wing-Fei Chan and Colin O'Regan for a 4-car battle as Lawrence de Solswell off camera gets himself ahead of Sean McClements, but that's going to be a battle really to keep one eye on. The other eye is probably going to be fixed on Conor Melia here, who's right behind Alexander Milchin. Then as we head our way through, he's possibly looking for an inside move in towards one of the snaking sections. Not a conventional overtaking opportunity, but Evan, that's probably why I'm up in the commentary box, because that would be the last place I'd think about making a move, perhaps just filling the mirrors.
That should be the last place he thinks about making a move, because there's a lot better corners still to come for Conor Melia, man who's dabbling in real-world racing. That is a mouthful. From time to time now, he's going to try and put his skills to the test here in the sim as well and get past Alexander Milchin, who's looking to continue with another one of my statistics to go tonight, as he's not finished above 6th in this season yet, still sits 3rd in the championship, doing mighty impressive. Here comes Melia in towards turn number 14, the roller coaster section. When we saw McClemens and de Soswa go side by side, we'll see Melia get ahead of Milchin at a much earlier point. That is the number 56, who's up to 6th spot ahead of Alexander Milchin. This is Mohamed Osba and Sean McClemens battling there, as this is Tony Stack and Evan Walsh. That Stack across the circuit. You see Evan Walsh piling on the brakes there. Maybe some collision avoidance, maybe a sign of good sportsmanship, as I think Jordan Kelly has just overtaken Dylan McClemens.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly lapping very quickly indeed, and has now got himself ahead. So Jordan Kelly moves himself ahead. Well, see if we can find the replay of Jordan making the move on Dylan in towards what I assume will be in towards the horseshoe there. But Jordan Kelly, our championship leader, now up into 2nd place. So let's see the move then, Evan. That has got himself, Jordan Kelly, up into 2nd place.
Let's have a look then. This is McClemens in the black. This is Kelly in the white and green. It's a fairly easy one. Looks like maybe a slowdown for McClemens or something there, but probably Kelly's easiest move of the evening.
Yeah, I'd side on possibly the easiest one. Unfortunately, if that's going to be for track limits, having to see the time there, it's robbed us of a really good battle for Jordan Kelly to have to try and pass Dylan McClemens. But from Peter Dempsey's point of view, now he will want the likes of Kelly and McClemens to just keep squabbling as much as possible to buy himself enough time. Riding aboard then with Sean McClemens, as he's following Lawrence de Sosva then in this battle for 11th place, as we'll be heading our way through in towards the South Bend. Down we descend towards the Oak Tree, the double right-hander. David Prunty following them for close company, as well as Mohamed Osbar and Stephen Donnelly, as Lawrence de Sosva runs very wide then out of the Oak Tree, and it's still a decent run, but not as good as David Prunty, who gets that corner nailed. And look at the run he's got here, David Prunty. Will he try and get a move here on Lawrence de Sosva? He's managed to get a nose ahead of Sean McClemens here, but de Sosva is trying to place the car right between the two of them there, right behind, and that is Sean McClemens, who had the inside line, makes it stick. David Prunty tries to carry a little bit of speed through in towards the roller coaster then, but almost runs into the back of Sean McClemens. Managed to gather it all back up for good measure, but well, this is great viewing here if you're Mohamed Osbar right now.
Yeah, Lawrence, the owner of Potato Nation, went adventuring so much through turn number 12, he almost found that the potatoes were growing. But Mohamed Osba is looking to get on the grass here as well, get past David Prunty. That's brave from the number 12 down towards turn number 1. He wasn't able to get ahead. Will he try the old classic Keith Dempsey switchback that we saw earlier on young Dylan McClemens? No, won't be able to get the job done. Stephen Donnelly now pressuring him, and here comes Sean McClemens trying to get past Lawrence de Soswa once again. He'll get past once again, but de Soswa could well fight back. This is where he made his exceptional overtake in the earlier heats, in heat number 2, and he's going to keep his car in as well. Lawrence de Soswa, just about loses out, heading down towards the tricky S section, but Sean has not got a great run. He slid the car through there, and this is going to allow them to go side by side potentially in one of the most dangerous points of the circuit. Lawrence de Soswa keeping his car in here, well within his right, in towards the sweeping lefts and rights. Who gets ahead in this one? We really don't know, but it's going to look like it's Sean McClemens for now. Yes, Sean holds out bravest, but de Soswa will still have an opportunity down to the Oak Tree.
Wow, what a sequence of corners that was. Both drivers who have a huge amount of respect for each other, and that was very clear to see. Great racing between the two of them, and as you say, Evan, as they now plant the power out of the Oak Tree, this is a chance here now for Lawrence de Sosva to see if he can take advantage of the toe, punching the hole through the air that Sean McClemens will provide. This battle is pretty much now going all the way down to 19th place as we ride on board with Lawrence de Sosva. All aboard the train here for P11 right now. They're all stuck into this one, all looking to see Sean McClemens and Lawrence de Sosva. I'm sure they were all expecting the two of them to collide, but they never did. Great racing between them.
Yeah, exceptional. And honestly, I think this has been one of the best evenings for racing and for lack of incidents. I know we've had a few, but a lot of them have been racing, and the stewards might judge it that way as well. But it's really been a fantastic evening around what is the tight 5.2 kilometre circuit, or 3.2 miles if you are from Virginia. It's been really exceptional. It's been really fantastic to watch as well, as Wingfei Chan is going to look to continue that trend and look for an impressive move on Alexander Milchin. That's Prunty down the inside of Stephen Donnelly. David Prunty continues his B championship, I suppose, keeping it alive really at this point for David Prunty, but he gets ahead of Stephen Donnelly, who's looking to battle with the other Stephen. We're almost ending the heats how we started them, with a Stephen versus Stephen battle for 15th.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, no lack of Stephen action, that's for sure. David Prunty then 14th place. We're following him through as both Stephens try to hunt him down at the moment. Peter Dempsey, though, leading the way by just over 1.7 seconds. There is your race leader as we head away out of the oak tree on towards the back straight on what is the penultimate lap of this race. Peter Dempsey 1.6 seconds now ahead of Jordan Kelly, with Dylan McClements in third place. As you said, Evan, this season Jordan Kelly hasn't had the hat trick, but he's going to have to work for it on the final lap if he's got any chance of keeping that hat trick hope alive.
Yeah, it would be really impressive if he could do it from now. He's only caught a couple of tenths of a second since he got ahead of Dylan McClements, and Dylan's kind of kept with him well within that 1 second. This is O'Keefe, who we're looking to try and get past Tony Stack. He's probably going to be craving some chocolate with how much he's seen the Milka sponsorship in his face here this evening. David Prunty just in front of him as well, under pressure from Stephen Donnelly, and this is Donnelly trying to dive it round the outside. Oh, wow. That is really, I suppose, cool and composed on the brakes from the number 7. Donnelly, very impressive to get past Prunty for 14th.
Yeah, great stuff. He had a little bit of trouble getting the power down, but now we head through the S section, so he'll be able to gather that car back up. But there's Sean McClements then, who's trying to hold off Lawrence de Sosva. Where have we heard this one before in this race, in this heat specifically? We're heading our way now down towards the horseshoe, and for the final time then, Sean McClements has to defend from Lawrence de Sosva, heading our way in towards the horseshoe here. A little bit of a deeper line by Lawrence, maybe to try and get a little bit of a switch back here, get the power down earlier so that he can have a chance to see if he can make a move in towards NASCAR Ben. Great battling between them. Great battling behind as well. Evan Walsh trying to find a way past Stephen O'Keefe here. O'Keefe having the inside line, heading our way through. Oh, and Evan Walsh looked like he picked up the grass there with a rear tyre, and that has sent him around, unfortunately, for Evan Walsh. He had such a great heat too, picking up 17 positions, but Heat 1 and Heat 3 have not treated him well at all in this one. Alexander Milchin as well, trying to fend off the attack of Wingfei Chan, heading in towards the closing stages of this one. Peter Dempsey, though, leads Jordan Kelly by 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, Evan Walsh will not be too happy that we caught that one on the broadcast, because it was a spin under his own accord, and unfortunately that does drop him down out of big point contention here in this one. This is Wingfei Chan, maybe just a little bit too far off Alexander Milchin at this point in the race, unless he gets a monster slipstream from this point onwards down towards turn number 14. But I don't think so. I think this one's going to be Milchin, Chan in terms of order. But Peter Dempsey running through the final couple of corners now. Last week it was Dempsey, Kelly, Kelly. This week we turn the tables round. It's Kelly, Kelly, and now Peter Dempsey, who's going to come across the line to win the final heat here in the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup. He wins his second race of the season and first at Virginia International Raceway. Jordan Kelly gave it his all and comes home second. Dylan McClements with a podium in third. Rory O'Shea in fourth with the fastest lap. McGoldrick fifth. Then it was Melia, Milchin, Chan, O'Regan, and Simon Hutchings coming home in 10th. Then one of the battles of the night for me will see McClements ahead of Lawrence de Sosva in 11th and 12th.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, they're battling through that snaking section towards the South Bend was possibly the best side-by-side action we've seen tonight. That was great respect between the two of them. They gave each other just about enough room to not make contact, to not make door-to-door contact. Yes, so for me, that's definitely one of the highlights of tonight. And Sean McClements wins out that battle with Lawrence de Sosva. And yeah, it was a difficult heat 3 for both of them, but they really made it to show that they were still really up for the battling in this one. But it is Peter Dempsey who takes that victory here for the final race here at the Virginia International Raceway. And as you say, Evan, taking his second race win of the season, I think he'll be delighted with that one.
I think you will. Fabulous performance there from him. We are going to have a couple of interviews with Jordan Kelly again and with Dylan McClements. I spoke to Jordan earlier, Kieran, so would you like to speak to Jordan now?
Oh, you're so kind. Yes. Well, I'm sure he's bored of me from last week, but we'll bring him in. Jordan Kelly has joined us now. Jordan, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Jordan, I mean, a great drive from yourself, from eighth, of course, to second place. Is it just a case of maybe a couple more laps and you could have given Peter Dempsey a run for his money there?
Yeah, I think I probably would have needed 3 or 4 to be fair, but I just took too long to get through the traffic, which I had to do it because if I done with Peter Dunn, I would have got probably would have got killed some way along the line. So just took my time and made the moves, and eventually got up to second. Dylan probably should have second. He had a few slowdowns there, so yeah, a bit unfortunate for him, but no, I'll take second. So it was good from eighth to second, no damage, so all good.
Yeah, all good as well. I'm a fan of asking the stupid questions, but lap one in towards turn one, how vital was that move on Rory O'Shea? It happened almost immediately, but how vital was that in your race today?
Yeah, I think Rory has good pace, so I think it was a matter of getting past him, and then he could kind of try and follow. But I think that's what his plan was. But it's just so hard when you're in like a group. You just have to be at the front of the group trying to get past. So he caught up whenever I got through, and that's just the way he got messed up in that race. But it's just it was good to get it done now in the first corner. Save me worrying about it later on.
And Jordan, the same results as last week when I managed to commentate over you. 2 firsts and a second. The hat trick not quite there. Perhaps next week.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll try and get it before the week or the season's out. But no, I'll take near max points, so I won't be complaining too much.
Oh, great stuff, Jordan. Congratulations on your 2 victories, saying that very well earned second place. We'll leave you alone now to go and unwind and relax.
Will do. Thanks, Kieran.
Jordan
Great to
Kelly
hear
there.
from Jordan Kelly there. We did say it was going to be Dylan McClements, but we will hear from, I think, our Heat 3 race winner first. Let's bring in Peter Dempsey. Peter, congratulations on the win here in Heat number 3. You had a controllable lead, really, for the most part there, but was it difficult to keep that exceptional pace up lap on lap?
Yeah, I mean, didn't do much testing. I just jumped on today. But obviously, once I was really lucky, to be honest. The first lap, for a change, things kind of just fell into place, and I got from sixth, I think it was, to first in lap one, and then pace was good. Just trying to drop Dylan best I could, which took a few laps. Then I got a black flag just as Jordan was getting past him, so. I knew Jordan would be coming quick. He's unreal pace in these things compared to what I have. I'm probably missing like 3/10 a lap. So just try to, stay as close to the high 52s as I could and make as little amount of mistakes as possible. But yeah, good run there. Good night for a change. Put 3 races together. Didn't make any mistakes or didn't take anyone out. So that makes a change for me.
It's a win in Sebring and a win here this evening. Is it safe to say these American tracks might suit you a little bit better than the ones at the start of the season?
Yeah, I think I have a bit more track time on the ones on the US based tracks compared to the European ones. But Sebring and VO are two pretty good tracks for me. So that's 2 weeks in a row with no testing and jumping on. I've been at the front. Finally getting a handle on these GT4 cars. I spent a lot of time in the open wheel stuff, so it really took me a while to figure out the brakes and how you release the brake and make the front work on turn in. And that was really the biggest learning curve I had there at the start of the year or start of the season, and then I missed a few races due to work and come back. This is probably my last one of the year here because I get busy again at work. But happy to be on the pace at least, and obviously enjoy racing with all the lads. It's good crack and it's competitive and hard, fair racing for the most part.
Yeah, you said there that it is competitive. You're a man with a lot of experience, of course. You know your way around a race car, I think it's safe to say. Just how difficult is it to get good results, to get wins, to get podiums in what is, or certainly looks to me and Kieran, as a really competitive sort of championship?
It's tough. Like if you're not doing getting the seat time, trying to keep up with all the young lads is tough going when they're able to get on every night. Obviously, own a race team, married 2 kids, to try to get the freedom to do a bit of testing ahead of time is tough. So I just do the best I can. But all these lads in here, they're rapid and it's super competitive, which is why I try to do them when I can because it's always a lot of fun.
Peter, thank you very much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Congratulations on the win here this evening.
Cheers, lads. Thanks everyone at RTA, and see you hopefully in the next championship.
We look forward to seeing Peter Dempsey as well soon. I think I'm going to hand it back over to Kieran now, where we have one final interview first. Look at us being treated to 3 interviews after a race. This is brilliant.
3?
Over to Kieran then for an interview with the third place man, Dylan McClements.
Dylan, can you hear us?
Yeah, so I can.
Dylan, well, first of all, a great way to spend a birthday. Happy birthday. But a third place for you in that third heat for yourself. And unfortunately, it was a case of perhaps we were slightly robbed of a battle between yourself and Jordan Kelly. Was it slowdown penalties that got you there?
Yeah, 2 slowdown penalties, which put me way back. Probably a place I should have never, like a place I should have been higher, but there's nothing you can do from then on.
Yeah, I mean, in the battles we did see between yourselves and Peter Dempsey, Jordan Kelly briefly, Rory O'Shea's had some good pace as well. But yourself, it's been a fantastic day for you. And to round it off with the podium must be a nice feeling.
Yeah, it's obviously nice to have a podium in the last race, and especially on my birthday. But just looking forward to next week, try to get a few more podiums than this week.
And we've seen with Peter Dempsey, obviously, he's taken a liking to these American tracks towards this sort of American stint towards the end of the season. But yeah, coming into tonight, Dylan, it's a big haul of points for yourself. How do you see yourself in the champion standings with sort of 2 rounds to go? Where do you think you can finish up?
I'm second at the moment with quite a gap. I'm hoping to try get first, but it's going to be a big push and a few more runs for me. But so far, I'm hoping just to say so and maybe higher.
Yeah, great stuff. And of course, you mentioned Road Atlanta next week. Is that a track that treats you well?
I've never raced it, so there's going to be a lot of practice coming in for me. But I'm looking forward to it since I have a new track to learn and obviously try to get a few more points.
Yeah, great stuff. Dylan, congratulations on the podium in race number 3. Go and enjoy yourself. Go and enjoy the rest of your birthday and stop talking to us. Go and celebrate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dylan McClements there, finishing in 3rd place, and of course has a good hold on the runner-up spot in the championship. Evan, he did say he's going to push as hard as he can, but when you've got someone like Jordan Kelly, who is twice in a row near maximum points, it's very difficult to catch someone who's scoring just nearly full points every week.
Yeah, it's not easy to beat someone who scores full points. I feel like there's a Murray Walker quote something about that, but it won't come to my head. Here's your feature results, then we'll run you through them one more time. It is Dempsey, Kelly, McClements, who we heard from, then Rory O'Shea in 4th in the High Prix, then it is McGoldrick, Melia, Milchin, Chan, O'Regan, Hutchings, McClements, DeSoswa, Osba, Donnelly, Prunty, Stack, O'Keefe, and then Enda Farrell in 18th position. A little bit further down the order then, it is Dermot Toomey, Evan Walsh, Jamal Gandor, Aaron Dalton, Keith Dempsey, Gary Corcoran, Philip Upson, Mark Ivory, and Peter McCann. Then to round us off here, Kieran, we have the difficult job of picking a driver.
I knew you were going to ask this, and do you know what? There's been so
Well, we
many
can
great
discuss it.
performances.
I don't really want. I hate putting the burden on someone because I like picking it as well. But I have a bit of a suggestion I can give you. If
Yes,
that
go
would
on
help.
then.
Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, Rory had some really good pace, pretty much matching Jordan Kelly for pace, especially in the first 2 races. And it was just a case of Jordan Kelly not making those mistakes and being so close in pace that Rory never quite found the move there. And especially in that reverse race, got 4th place, finished the race with the fastest lap in race number 3. I think Rory's a great shout there. But we've got so many others to talk about as well. I mean, the list is pretty much endless. I think Lawrence de Sosfa would have been really up there. He had a great day at the office today.
My second shout.
Yeah, I was going to say he was running in 4th and 5th at the time in the final race and really looking for a chance to sneak a podium in this one. But unfortunately, got involved in contact at the first corner about the halfway stage. But you know what? He still gave us some great battlings between himself and Sean McClements. And the moment of the race as well, he awarded us between those two, going through that snaking section. I mean, that was fantastic to watch and obviously well called by yourself, Evan.
Yeah, I'm happy to agree with Lawrence for driver of the day. Then, if we're going to go for that one, I think he's had a couple of maybe tough weeks in races. I think he'll be very happy with that one, and certainly very happy with his results tonight.
Yeah, great stuff. I think we're agreed then. Lawrence Sosfa
Yes.
is going to be our driver of the day. And if you have any qualms about that, take it up with Evan and I, because there was about 5 or 6 drivers we could have chosen from tonight. It was so great to watch.
Or if you have any complaints, email the sim consultant. No, I'm sorry. But, sorry, you can see the sim consultants just in the top right there as well. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to our sponsors, TH Jordan here, sponsoring the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup. But I think that's about us done here this evening, Kieran. Any final thoughts from yourself?
I thought that was great fun, and I really can't wait for Road Atlanta, where we see these Aston Martins get unleashed once again for the penultimate round of the season. And whilst the top honours in the A Championship might be, all but wrapped up in a nice little bow, it's just shown tonight here that the variety of points up and down the field means that second and, well, more accurately, third place is still very much up for grabs.
Yes, we head to Road Atlanta and Laguna Seca for the final 2 rounds of the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup. You can find them here on Gantry TV. Make sure to pop a subscription as well, and to pop a like on the stream if you've enjoyed this evening's action. We greatly appreciate your support week in, week out. And from myself and Kieran, thank you very much for joining us. We head to Braselton, Georgia for round number 7 of what's been an absolute fabulous season. Thank you very much once again, and in the famous words of Kevin Galvin, it's long a fall.